Just because you saw the mountaintop doesn't mean you've traveled up there. A psychedelic experience, we say sometimes it's like being on a trampoline, and you get to see somebody else's yard, and then a little higher, you get to see your town. And eventually the cosmos is in perception. But you always go back down to where you started if you don't know what to do with what you've just seen. When we talk about whole person healing and integration, it's about taking everything you've just experienced in the medicine, now putting it into your daily waking life through practices and habits that then shift your life toward the direction you're longing to go.
Hey everyone, Marcus and the Monk here today. So Marcus Capone, former Navy SEAL, business owner, and Dr. Michael Sapiro. Mike, what's up?
What's up, dude? I was trying to fill in to look like you, but I can't take enough creatine.
What's going on? How are you?
Pretty good, overworking, trying to find balance in a life that asks a lot.
It's not supposed to, aren't you supposed to be telling me that?
Not on this show, dude. We're just two dudes talking together about what life is.
We are two dudes.
Yeah. I mean, I structure my day so that I have as much balance as I can. Meditation, working out, cooking, walks with the dogs. And then my service falls in between all of that. And I hope that the self-care I do infuses in the work that I'm doing. But like you and vets, we have a lot of work. There's a lot of suffering out there.
There is a lot. And Netflix just launched our documentary, Waves in War. And I can't tell you the amount of overwhelming response we're getting. Mm-hmm. And I mean, all of it is good. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of heaviness in there. And a lot of it, what I'm seeing is guys are saying, hey, this has made me reflect over the last 20 years, which I didn't even expect that, wasn't even thinking about that.
Really?
And they're saying, hey, I'm thinking about my time in service, how I acted, time with my family, how I acted. Now, what I'm doing in my life and how I'm acting. And so, it's gotten a little bit heavier than I expected. You know, I haven't been really thinking about it. Amber's definitely taking it as I think heavier than I am. For me, I try to keep it light and let things roll off my shoulders. And I feel like that's the only way to do it these days. But
is that an avoidance of holding the heaviness?
No, not an avoidance at all. It's I can't control. What I can't control, I'm not going to get wrapped around the axle anymore. I'm not going to get stressed over it. The flight gets canceled, my bags get lost, et cetera, et cetera. I can't control those things. I am not going to worry about them anymore, where I used to worry about everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely opposite of most vets and first responders I work with. And they come to a place in their practice, in their therapy, and certainly in medicine work of learning how to surrender, learning how to let go, and also knowing that we're not in control, but your job as an operator and my first responder's job is to be in control of circumstances and situations. And so afterward, trying to relax into life as it is a really big stressor for most of the time. So I'm wondering if your medicine work and the integration work you've done has moved you to a little bit more flexibility, ease.
100%. I mean, it's honestly, it's done a 180 for me. But not just the medicine, it's all the work. It's the work that I've been doing over the years. It's the work you and I are doing now. Mm-hmm. It's the work you and I have done before medicine. Medicine helps a lot. And then, it's the work that I continue to do. And so, but it doesn't mean we're still not, I try to tell everyone we are still the same person that we were before. We're just a better version of it. And, what's a better version? You having a complete panic attack because your bags didn't get there, that you had nothing to do with at all. Or you just saying, you know what, I'll figure it out. I don't have my clothes. Not the lady's fault at the counter. I had nothing to do with my bags. Mm-hmm. I'm upset, but you know what? I can go to a shop. I can buy another set. I can get a toothbrush. I could solve problem now the other way versus this being the worst thing that's ever happened to me right now at this point. And I've been that way. I've done that in the past. Doesn't help anything. It doesn't solve anything. It makes me worse. It makes all the people around me worse. You understand this more than I do from I want to call it a science perspective, just from a a therapy perspective, a Buddhist perspective, a life perspective. So,
well, I'm curious to know what facilitated that shift, and what do you call that shift? What would you call that shift you're just describing so well, going from control and panic when we don't have control to recognizing it's actually okay. There's so many more options here, and also I don't need to blame people too.
what is that? What is that called?
What do you call it?
Um,
It's a perception shift. What do you call it?
well, I mean, I look at it as just being more aware. I always I always say that the further we go in this journey, whether it's a spiritual journey or just a growth journey, I just believe that the more aware you become, I feel like this higher level, I hate to say it, I feel like it's a higher level of consciousness. I'm not sure if that's the right term, but I do feel like I am able to sit above things before where I was just in things. And when I say sit above things, I just mean like open my aperture to look at the situation versus being on the front sight.
Right.
And that only being the only thing that I see.
Yeah, I don't know if we call it higher. It's definitely more expanded or
Expanded.
expandable.
Okay.
It's a
Better.
conscious. Some spiritual traditions call it the higher self or something, but really, there's nothing wrong with who we are even now. But how we are right now may be rigid or tight or caught in our trauma bodies or the way we think, we believe what we think. I want our audience to think about that. How often do you believe what you think? And is the attachment to your beliefs causing you pain and suffering? And also, are you projecting those beliefs onto other people? Like, you should believe that too. I mean, that's a really rigid, constricted way of living that causes us so much tension and suffering. And you're
I'm
talking
so
about,
glad.
yeah,
I'm so glad you're jumping into this because this is exactly what I wanted to talk about today. I didn't know if we were going to talk about it now, but the constant thoughts. But you and I went through this last time on our, during our integration, our coaching session. So today, want to focus a little bit about integration. I think it's important. You obviously, this is what you do. It's a chapter in your book. It's what I'm going through right now from about a month ago through my last medicine journey. It's something that I've paid really close attention to during all these experiences over the last 8 years. I think it's something that I don't have any data, but I would say most or many people miss. And I believe they rely heavily, sometimes too much, on the plants or the drug. And there is aha moments there. You're having me read a book now after the acid to see the laundry. We do go back to everyday life, the screaming kids, the bills, the person who cut us off while we're driving. And so I think this part is really important. And this is a part I have focused on, and I believe it just helps me continue to grow. So just setting the stage, what is whole person hearing? And again, we're diving into integration today. And I think we should go into gratitude today too about, I think everybody's been doing it wrong. What I'm hearing isn't that like, we've just been writing a list down. Like, I am grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. Boop. Let's go move on with our day. Like, what did I get out of that?
Yeah, we talked about embodying it, the actual feelings of gratitude, which is completely different than the cognitive aspect of it. We're going for that kind of somatic, emotional feeling. The textures of gratitude fill us up so much differently when we're there with it. Thank you, God, or thank you, whomever, or whatever, for this thing. Our bodies sense it and feel it, and then we expand rather than just a list in our heads, which is it's a cognitive exercise, but that doesn't have the feeling tone to it, which is what we need to embody gratitude, to feel it.
So, Mike, real quick, when or Monk or Dr. Mike, when you say our embody and when you say somatic, can you just let the listeners who may never have heard those terms before, what does that mean exactly?
Well, in the old Zen tradition, when a novice monk asks a master a Zen question, there's a tradition where sometimes the Zen master just slaps the novice monk. And so if you could ask me a question and my response, which I've always wanted to just punch you in the gut, Marcus, that's just
me. Wait, is this a real thing? Like the Zen master actually backhands or front
Oh,
hands?
yeah. And actually in the Japanese culture, they have in one of the sects of Zen, they have a stick and they whack the stick against the person. What it does is it brings them to the present moment, out of their mind.
Yeah.
And it wakes them up. The answers are almost always in the present moment and felt in the body, in sensations. The answers we're seeking are not often cognitive and intellectual. They're really felt in the body. If I were to ask anybody in the audience or anyone listening right now to picture someone or something they love, to really sit and picture a dog or their child, their body will swell with the feeling of love. That's the experience of love. When we're doing gratitude, making a list without feeling it, it's like eating a menu rather than the dish. The reason we come to our body is because that's where feelings live. That's where love lives. And that's where pain lives. And so many people are avoiding pain. So they get out of their bodies by drinking, oversexing, texting, doing all the things that just get them out of their body numb instead of being here where the pain is. But this is also where the joy is, love is, tenderness is, bliss is. And so when we're saying embodied, it's when you are in the body, you're feeling it through sensations. Just like when I ask people to visualize someone or something they love, it fills up in the body. Then you know that's love. So we're trying to bring gratitude from a thought to the actual experience where it's very strong and very potent. That's why we don't just do lists. We actually feel the vibe of gratitude. And that's what transforms us, not the idea of it.
I think that's incredible. And I think the knowledge and the lesson I learned the last time you and I spoke, I think it was a week ago, I got it. And I tell you what, it's actually been a little harder though to like practice gratitude.
Yes.
Than it was making the list.
100%. Why?
Is that normal too?
Everything you do is normal. You're okay. You're unbroken. Why? Why do you think it's harder?
Well, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, I want to practice some gratitude early in the morning. And the first thing I was like, okay, my list. I am grateful for. Or no, that's not what Mike and I spoke about. I have to embody this. I have to understand. I have to feel it. It has to make me feel good. When it makes me feel good, that's practicing gratitude. And then it was like,
You could still.
I was like, man, this is not as easy as I thought. So it just threw me for a loop the very first time we did it, which was like the right after. And I was just like, oh man, this feels good. Someone's telling me that I am making them feel good, which makes me feel good. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got it right away. Like that was gratitude. And I was going to say something, but you decided to step in and be monk-like and just do it. Say it.
So, I mean, we're going to have some list of some sort when I'm in bed thinking about the things that I want to be thankful for. My dog Bruce comes to mind every night because he's on the bed and I have this swelling of love and I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad this dog's here with me. I'm feeling him there, but a lot of the things on my mind, they're not present. My friends, the people I work with, I'm bringing them to mind and I'm feeling the sense of gratitude in my body. It fills me up. And then the harder parts of gratitude, like we talked about, I'm also thankful for the people I don't like in my life, for the situations that have messed me up badly. I don't wish that it happened to me, but I am grateful because I'm a better man or a better person because of the circumstances that those people put me through. So I can even bring them up. And while I cringe maybe at them particularly in my mind, I do feel a sense of gratitude for the growth and also for the challenge. We don't grow without challenge. So I am grateful for the challenge, even if I don't like it. That's a tougher thing to practice because most of us are like, F that. I don't fucking want to I don't want to be grateful to that thing or my cancer or to my ex-spouse. But the truth is, if you've done the work and you've grown, then we have a lot to be grateful for.
No, I love that. I'm being harassed by someone right now via text message for a while, for about a year, maybe plus. And probably I would have been a little bit angrier before. And now I'm like, this person obviously needs some of their own help. And, they're taking it out on this individual. And I just shrugged my shoulders and go, hey man, sorry
Well,
that, you can't, deal with it in your way, and you got to attack me, and, hopefully one day you can get better. And so I want to get angry because I'm like, are you really writing these things? Because the old Marcus probably would have blown up. But now it doesn't. It's right off my shoulders.
First of all, I'm glad you're finally telling me how my texts make you feel.
It is you.
Listen, here's how I'm going to use that example. Some dude or some person's texting you in a way that is really, it's hurtful. It's not skillful. And you want to eliminate the person who's doing that. You want to eliminate the circumstances or the person. Maybe we shouldn't use eliminate. You want to get that. Take those words out. We don't want that circumstance or the person in our life. What would be the growth for you if you use that circumstance for transformation? How would we use that? Like, what would be your goal? Would it be setting boundaries? What would it be? What would it be?
Well, I mean, initially it just shows that, again, this is personal growth, that I've achieved another growth level. I look at it that way, go, wow, this is not even affecting me anymore. Yeah. It's obvious that there's something that this individual needs to work on. I'm literally not even the slightest bit effective. I actually think it's funny because the stuff that is written is hilarious. And I would just want to take that and move that to the next incident, whatever that may be, and just say, hey, I've already gone through this. Let's go through the next one. Let's actually pray, or let's hope that individual gets better, works on themselves. And I know how hard that is. In scripture, they talk about it, how difficult it is to be the first person to forgive. Yeah, I just think it's part of growth. And I think when you catch that, be aware of it, maybe be grateful for it. I feel good. I feel good talking about it now, Doc. Monk. I got to figure out what to call you, bro.
Dude, listen, homie, what I just heard is there's a lot of growth there. You've got the bigger perspective. You have some compassion for this person. You also apply loving kindness. May they be less fearful. May they be at ease. May they come to peace. May they heal. So you're applying that. It sounds like maybe even some forgiveness is possible. So when we think about the circumstance at night, we're like, I don't like it. I don't want it. We're not pretending, oh, I'm so glad it's here. We don't have to pretend. We can be like, it still sucks. I wish it didn't happen. But I hope that person's good because they don't seem good. And also, I'm really grateful for this circumstance because now I can not take things personally where I used to. That's how we use shitty circumstances in our gratitude practice. We can show up, but we have to do the work during the circumstance to grow. Otherwise, it's hard to be grateful for something that you haven't grown through yet. You might be like, okay, God, what's the message here? Or universe, what is my task? And now I'm grateful I have a task of growth to do.
Which goes into growth, which kind of equals healing. And so I want to again, kind of where I want to start, even though we jumped right in, is whole person healing. You talk about in your book. You talk about several levels, 4 levels, I believe. What is that? What does that even mean? What does that look like? What can people learn from the whole person healing and the different levels of healing?
I want to go back to you because you're doing it in real time. Just for the audience, I think I talk about the somatic and the physiology. Is that right? The body is one level. We talk about psychological, our thoughts, our beliefs, the context in which our values are created. We talk about the spiritual, and sometimes I talk about ancestral and other times relational. So we have the body, the mind, the spirit, and the heart, which can be our relationship to God or divine or to ancestors, to spirits, to dreams. And then we have either the relational domain. Am I becoming healthier with other people in the way I communicate or be? So those are generally the levels that I look at. there's so many micro levels we can look at each one of these. In the body, it's, am I treating my body better? Am I reducing harmful behaviors? Am I increasing positive, healthy behaviors? How has the medicine experience and all the integration changed the way I show up and relate to my body? So then we have that with the mind, the heart, the spirit, and then other people.
There's a lot of healing we'll call, physiologically with the brain.
Yeah.
And then what you're talking about is all, in my opinion, the integration, and I say integration, all the work, all the actual hard work that has to be put in to make it work.
Right.
I think pharma companies will tell you that it's just a drug and we only care about the drug and we don't care about the psychotherapy. We don't, right? Integration, that stuff's BS. It's just the drug. We get the drug into the brain. The brain's fixed. We relieve the symptoms and we're good.
And if that were true, then everyone on an antidepressant should be feeling better all the time. And that's not the data we have. 50% tend to feel better symptom-wise. That doesn't mean they're thriving. What we know is that medicine with therapy, with lifestyle, those three things together make the difference. That's very clear. Medicine alone, antidepressants, even ketamine or psilocybin, medicine alone without really good depthful therapy work and lifestyle changes is just another drug that will eventually dissipate in the system. And now we still have our old habits of thinking. Just because you saw the mountaintop doesn't mean you've traveled up there. Like a psychedelic experience, we say sometimes it's like being on a trampoline and you get to see somebody else's yard. And then you go a little higher, you get to see your town. You bounce a little higher, maybe the state and eventually the cosmos is in perception. You're like on this trampoline seeing things, but you always go back down to where you started if you don't know what to do with what you've just seen. So when we talk about whole person healing and integration, it's about taking everything you've just experienced in the medicine and now putting it into your daily waking life through practices and daily habits that then shift your life toward the direction you're longing to go.
Right. So the drug, or here in this case, we'll call it psychedelic treatment, plus the work that you do afterwards can build the habits that hopefully you need to continue on for successful healing as we grow. We don't do integration. We just solely rely on the drug. Like you just mentioned, antidepressants are a great example that they may work for 30 to 50% individuals. At Wall Street Journal article that came out recently said maybe 15%. And that placebo works about just as well. So now we're at 30% placebo and antidepressant, and we're forgetting about 70% of the individual. But again, we're just attacking symptoms. We're not going after root cause issues and right. Changing habits. So.
Yeah, it's really important for us. We're seeming to have these conversations because we have experience and knowledge and we care so deeply about people we're talking to right now. Everyone listening, we're thinking of you as we're talking because you're our target audience. We want you to know we're trying to be mindful of what we're presenting to give you a bigger package than what the media is showing or what the sensational articles, psychedelics are the new sexy thing. And it's like, no, dude, the work is the sexy thing. It's actually not sexy. The work is hard and it's not pleasant. And it pays off. The work pays off. It's the medicine itself is a part of the process, not the whole process at all.
And I go back to discipline. I mean, it's a word that you don't hear a lot of in psychedelics. Like it's almost like an anti-word. It's like, oh, discipline, I kind of want to just do what I want and run loose. But discipline is the hard work. Right? Like waking up early, going to the gym, getting on the treadmill, lifting weights, meditating, doing yoga, prayer. That to me is discipline, specifically if it's consistent. I mean, consistency is discipline. So I feel that proper discipline throughout integration is a home run if you can get there.
I think dedication, discipline, and commitment are some of the pillars of the integration work. We're talking about integration because no matter how great the experience was or not great, because you can have a really not great psychedelic experience, but get a lot of good information just in a way that didn't feel very good. if you don't do anything with any of that, then it's just a drug experience. I have a friend who did 54 ayahuasca retreats and didn't change a bit.
It seems to be the going joke. It's like, oh, I did another X, Y, and Z. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wonderful. Like, what are you getting out of that?
Yeah. And what are you doing afterward? And who's leading you through this process? One of the reasons I love working with first responders and veterans, especially the special ops community, is because you know what discipline and training look like. My job is to kind of convince you that you are worth the training for yourself. Can Marcus put in the same training toward his well-being as he did in buds? Or can my SWAT operators put the same training to their mental health and as they do their operational training? And when they start saying yes to that, they become high-level Jedi operators on the inside. That's where the shift starts happening, when they go, okay, I matter to myself, and I'm going to put the same amount of training, if not more now, into myself, because I want to be a better dad, husband, or spouse. I want to be a better sister or wife, whomever's coming to me. These goals are achievable with the discipline that you put into your careers. And so it's interesting. Sometimes I have to work really hard to be like, you matter more than your job. Can you please put that attention toward yourself? And the people who do, that's where the transformation takes place.
Yeah, I fully agree. I definitely feel this period of I don't know if called malleability, but like or neuroplasticity, where stuff I'm working on, I feel like it's shifting rather quickly. And I think a lot of these things could potentially, without having that period of post psychedelic treatment, take longer to heal. So, for instance, you and I worked on some intrusive thoughts last time. It's one of those things that, and we can go right around this now, the psychological kind of healing the mind and why people deal with, shame, intrusive thoughts, depression. How does psychedelics disrupt those loops? But then how do you work on yourself through integration to make those go away? So for instance, the last time you and I spoke, during my integration period, I said, why am I having these thoughts? Why, when I wake up in the middle of the night, these are bad thoughts? Some of these thoughts they're everything. Some of them are gross. Some of them are violent. Some of them are absolutely depressing. Some of them are sexual. They're all over the place. And I don't like them at all. Matter of fact, I start to get in conversation with them sometimes. And next thing you know, I'm having this full-on conversation of something that's not even real. Mm-hmm. And I'm already planning stuff with other people that's not even real. And I can get extremely depressed from this and start to lose purpose and hope. And all of a sudden I'm like, what are you thinking about? What are you talking about? So you and I spoke about this, and you said, well, this is what I need you to do. I need you to start telling those thoughts that like, it's not okay to say them anymore. It's not okay to do this. And I don't like how they feel. And telling it what you want to hear, or that you want to hear good thoughts, or you want to hear good things to do. And so I've been working on that. And I'd like you to do a better job than I just did of explaining what we went through and what I'm working on. I understand what I'm doing by telling myself I don't want to hear these anymore. I don't want to know about them. I don't like them. And I just want to focus on good stuff going forward.
Yeah, I want to make sure I don't want us to bypass that stuff. First of all the things you experience, those thoughts, they are almost all natural. The only thing I worry about is if you were having sexual thoughts with dead people. Then I would be like, we need to talk.
Is that a joke or is that real? I don't know. All right.
No, I mean, we got to have some levity, and I'm a first responder psychologist. Our jokes are terrible. All right.
All right, good.
We can't be serious all the time, dude. We're really talking about that inner critic that comes to you and beats you up too. Those kinds of intrusive thoughts. And many of us have those. And many of us with PTSD do have intrusive thoughts that are violent. I have PTSD and I have thoughts that come in all the time, not all the time, a lot less, but they used to come in all the time of like my dog being killed, people coming into my house and shooting my dog. That was a recurrent intrusive thought. And I know a lot of my first responders have intrusive thoughts of their kids getting hurt because they see a lot of that in the field. And so they wonder, they have these thoughts. And it's an interesting paradox because what happens is the brain is going, hey, you're too relaxed. You're kind of not on guard. Let me give you a thought that puts you back on guard because life is dangerous. The PTSD brain, the brain of those of us with extensive trauma, wants to keep us alive and safe. And it does that by going, if you're not on guard, you're susceptible to being hurt. Bad things happen. Bad things happen. And if you're like, I'm having a really good day, and then your brain is like, yeah, well, what if someone came in your house and shot your dog? And you're like, God, dude, what are you doing? I don't want that. I don't need to see it. Well, if I know my brain is doing that to try to keep me safe, I can actually have a conversation with the part of my psyche and the part of the brain that is responsible for doing that and going, I am safe right now. I am safe. And I don't need to indulge in those thoughts. So as soon as I start seeing the intrusive thought coming, because my awareness is built, I can go, I don't need that. I don't need to be reminded. You see, I stay calm. I'm not indulging the fantasies. So that's on one hand what we do with intrusive thoughts. And I've taught many first responders and veterans how to identify, oh, it's coming in. It wants to make sure I'm on guard, but I know I'm safe right now. I am vigilant, but I don't need to be hyper vigilant. There's a difference. We still want to remain vigilant. There is bad shit in the world. We don't want to be hyper vigilant. And the brain, those intrusive thoughts are the brain's way of going, be hyper vigilant. Bad shit can happen all the time. So it's me regulating my nervous system. Dude, you're safe, Mike. And I'm not going to indulge that thought. And so as I've done this practice so much, I might have it start, I catch it, and I'm like, I don't need it. In terms of the intrusive kind of beating yourself up thoughts, that's where we have a conversation with the ego or the critic. The inner critic is what we call it. The inner critic wants you to do better in your life, but it's usually in a voice of our father or someone who's trained us to like beat ourselves up that we didn't do it well. And we internalized somebody else's behaviors. Like my dad used to shame me and tell me how disappointing I am. And so I did that to myself for most of my life. Dude, Mike, you're so disappointing. You can't even do that right. And eventually what I needed to do was make an ally out of that part of myself. So instead of berate me or shame me, what I trained my critic to do is say, Mike, I'd like you to do that differently. You didn't do that awesome, but you can do it better. Now I have someone who's coaching me rather than shaming me. So it's about training our inner critic. You can't get rid of that part, but you can retrain it.
So you can't get rid of it. I think that's something that's also important because this can drive you absolutely. I mean, and usually for me, it happens when I wake up in the night and it starts, my brain tends to be scattered in the middle of the night. And then I wake up, feel rested, and I'm not having those thoughts anymore. And so, but again, I'm working on the stuff that you're talking about right here, and it's really helping.
Well, can we go a little bit? Can I ask you some questions? I mean, are you actually talking to it and you're finding there's a different response? Because I want people to know this isn't voodoo. I mean, we're really retraining ourselves to speak different to ourselves.
I'm telling it that these thoughts are not real. These are not true. Okay. These are not truth. This is my mind telling me whatever it comes to my mind. Like as you said, we can't control these thoughts. These are going to come no matter what. But we can work on them to shift maybe how they come, and maybe eventually they'll stop. But right now I'm in that period of like, they're still here. But I don't believe them. And I try not to go down the road with them and start arguing with them or negotiating or planning stuff, which I've caught myself doing. But I like to tell them that, like, no, this is wrong. This is false. I don't believe in this at all. I start to talk a little bit about just the light in God, and that, that's what all that matters. And a lot of times these will dissipate when I start talking a little bit truth to it. And then I say that I don't like how this feels. And this is uncomfortable. This doesn't make me feel good. and I want to feel good. I want to have good thoughts. I want to think about good things. I want to think about positive things. I want to plan for good things. I want to, continue with good relationships with my wife and kids. I want to do good for people. I want to build good businesses. So I
Mhm.
talk about things that I want to do versus these weird, random, sometimes thoughts that just come in. That's really trying to, and I can feel it, just trying to hold you back. Like, you're no good. It's never going to happen. Movie's going to fail. Company's going to fail. Vets is going to fail. What are you doing? This is no good. You're an idiot. Like, so those are the things that come at me
Yeah, and you're
sometimes.
not alone.
Rapid fire.
I guarantee you, everyone listening has versions of this. Everyone listening is
For
like, "Oh,
sure.
dude, that's me. I've got the same things." We all do, for a variety of reasons, and it's even not as important the context they came out of as much anymore is what do we want to do with it. So a lot of therapy traditionally looks back and go, okay, your dad or mom created these habits. They talk to you in certain ways, or you had teachers, or the culture talks to you in certain ways, and we internalize those. We go, oh, I must be this or that because I've been taught this or that about myself. And now I've made habits out of thinking this way. So your old habit is waking up and going, I'm not good enough. Everything around me is not good enough. It's going to fail. And then your body responds to that with chemicals and hormones that are not healthy for you because that's stress. And now we're in cycles of negative thinking and negative feeling. And strange enough, many of us are attached to that kind of thinking. We're like attached to that because if I'm like, it's not easy just to start thinking positive. It's not. It's a whole training. To move from old habits to new habits takes a lot of effort, intention, discipline, and desire to feel better. What you're telling me is the reason it's working is because you're dedicated to feeling better. And it's going to take that kind of effort to hear those thoughts and feel them and go, this is not what I want. I don't want to face that anymore. I'm going to face the things that I do want and the things that I do value. Too many of us spend our time paying attention to things we don't want or like. We have to spend more of our attention on things we want and bring us joy and health. We have to switch our attention over there.
So the first time you taught me, we talked about this. I thought this was weird. I'm like, not that I don't get it. I just thought it was weird. Like, okay, here, I'm going to talk to myself now about what I should be doing. So that's kind of how I walked away from it, but I started doing it right away and it just felt better. And every time I do it, it feels better. And I feel like the thoughts are like coming less.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing this like all the time now, because I just do it immediately. If I'm sitting here at the laptop or whatever, or driving, and all of a sudden those conversations come in, I'm like, oops, stop. No, you're not coming here. I don't like you. Bye, leave. Here's what I want. And then I shift right into that. And again, I thought it was weird. So some people listening might think like, this is weird. I'm supposed to tell my thoughts that I don't like them, or that's not true. Yes, that's what you're supposed to do. That's
Well,
exactly what you're supposed to do.
we're making, really, in essence, we're making a healthy relationship with ourself. Many of us are dominated by parts of ourself that operate independently. We say the thing before we think about it. Then we get in trouble. We have an impulse that we do. And then we get in trouble. And then we make trouble. Or we hurt ourselves or others. Or a younger part of ourselves floods us and we're emotional and we're reacting like a teenager, or like we're reacting like an 8-year-old. And we're like, who's in charge of me anyway? Well, what we're talking about is consciously becoming the one in charge of you, consciously using the wiser, more mature self to make these decisions in your life. But we have to have a relationship with our own inner psyche to do that. And many of us are just led by unconscious parts of us. What you and I are talking about is making the unconscious conscious, and then having a relationship where we're teaching it, hey, that's not okay to talk to me like that. That's not okay to bring those images up. I'm not okay with that. And eventually we teach ourselves what's important to us.
Is this called reconstructing? I think from your book,
I
or
don't
it
know.
doesn't
I
matter?
don't know what
Okay,
I call it.
all right.
Yeah. And it happens really obviously in psychedelics because you can see all these things arising. You have that more global look at yourself. You're a little bit outside of yourself. You're like, wow, this is how I operate. This is how I think. And so in integration, we're just doing it very consciously without medicine.
On this note, then, if we're trying to connect to ourselves in a better way, how do we now start working with other people? So how do I start reconnecting with my spouse or with my kids or with my other social relationships? Because I feel like it's difficult to do all those things at one time. And I told someone this the other day that I said, you can be a little bit selfish, because I said, if you don't take care of you fully, all of us are going to suffer. Like, and this is a friend. I said, all of us are going to suffer. And I was like, you, your spouse, me, everybody. So be selfish a little bit, or call it what you want. But I feel like what we're talking about here about, talking to that inner voice and trying to figure that damn thing out and get it in the right path. But then how do we move on to, relationships with our, other half, our spouse? I mean, for me,
how have you done?
It's still been work. Like, 2017 is a long time. And like, relationship with Amber wasn't constructed and I would say fixed overnight. I mean, we had like these and these and these and these, but it's gotten so much better. And now it's like, now we're singing. But
what have you done differently?
I've just been at peace. It's the only thing I've asked for a long time, is to be at peace. And when I was at peace, then I feel like our relationship can be at peace, because I can take that split second, as you were just talking about before, instead of just like vomiting something out that I wish I didn't say, and just saying, okay, if you say that, if this, then that.
Yeah.
And so I don't. And then also just accept and surrender and, I don't know, be human and not have to be as aggressive and as, kind of violence of action in everything that we do. Just being more present and listening, and maybe not trying to solve every problem. So, but again, all we're going in like a ton of different directions here. But these are all things that it's taken really long time to work on and figure out and get better.
And these are all parts of integration. And just for the audience, we don't do all of this at once. We might choose one or two things after a journey to focus on, because as Marcus just said, there are just so many things that are going to come up in sessions with medicine. And even before, during our prep, all this stuff kind of comes up. And then certainly in integration, we wouldn't get any depth if we covered each of these topics in one session. You would just surface or skim or surf. So we might take one thing, like, I want to talk more positively to myself. I don't want to beat myself up. And we would just focus on that for our integration session. And the person might go home and have a whole plan for being aware of negative self-talk, for knowing how to stop it, and then for knowing how to replace it with something positive each time that they catch it. And then we'd come back together and go, how was it? Did you catch yourself? Did you stop yourself? Were you kinder to yourself? And then what was it like? And we would look at that. If your integration plan included, I want to be better to my spouse or my kids. I want to be kinder. I want to be more patient. I want to be more curious. Then we would spend a whole integration session going, well, what are you doing now? You interrupt. You just blurt out the first thing you think about, and usually hurts the person, and you don't even ask questions. So this week, how about you STFU, ask questions, and when you interrupt, say, oh, shoot, I'm sorry, I just interrupted. Please keep going. Just catch yourself. And we might make a plan that's just focusing on relationships. So, but that example I just gave is one way we might actually work on our relationships. Be curious. Don't interrupt. Watch what you say before you say it. And remember, the attitude of love towards your partners or your kids should be coming first, not teaching them something or writing something. when we're in relationship, my guess is most people listening don't want to hurt their partners or their kids, but we end up doing it out of being impulsive, trying to prove a point, feeling hurt and resentful and wanting to push and hurt back. If you show up with the attitude of love being the motivator for this conversation, then you will naturally try to do what's best for everyone involved. So start with that. This is a hard conversation I need to have with you, but I'm coming from love for both of us. And that's going to motivate me when I want to say something sharp. I'm like, don't do that, dude. That's not kind.
I really like that. I think that word is really tough for a lot of us, love. And I think that using that word, as you mentioned, is easing some of the tension, because sometimes I don't know what to say. I shouldn't say not what to say. A lot of times I do know what to say. There are more times I don't know how to say them.
Yeah, good.
So I feel like I know the answer, or I know where I want to go, but sometimes I'm not able to communicate that correctly. Yeah. And I'll say it in a way that gets that the other side of being Amber here's it another way. But I'm really not, all I'm trying to do is make either us better or her better, or diffuse a situation that it may cause. And I wind up sometimes just screwing it all up because I presented it and communicated it incorrectly. But what you're saying is leading with love, or even saying that, can diffuse the situation. And I think that's, I mean, if I walked away from this whole hour just doing that, I feel like we would all be in a much better place.
And there are skills we learn. There are skills of listening. I'm a negotiator on the police team, and I teach negotiation skills. And I've been trained as a negotiator. And there are very clear skills that we need to use to diffuse a situation when working with someone that's barricaded. Let's say there are just basic and then advanced listening skills and communication skills. And a lot that has to do with just paraphrasing, repeating what you're hearing. Am I getting that right? You're saying you feel this way, and many of us just want to go to, I want you to understand me, or I want to prove I'm right. And then that's not diffusion or collaborative. So we do have to learn basic listening skills. We do have to learn basic communication skills. But we also need a heart frame, a mindset of like, I want to collaborate with my partners or my colleagues or my children. And I'm going to take some moments to be quiet and listen and be curious. This is my stance. Just like going into a psychedelic experience, I'm curious, I'm open, I'm going to trust. So I'm going to do that with my partner too.
I hope Amber's not listening to this, because I'm going to use this on her next time.
And let me know how it goes.
I'm sure it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. I'm just going to say, all right, first off, love. Let's just throw that out there.
Let's throw it out there.
We got that part. All right. So anything I say now can and will be used against me. No, this is great. This is incredible. I feel like I'm getting a whole nother integration session in today, coaching with Dr. Mike. So thank you.
It's just you and me being ourselves. And I'm always thinking of the audience, like, what can we give them? What gifts can they have? And we're not always right. I'm not always right. Some of this stuff might not be right for everybody, but we're just trying to enhance the field by bringing what's real. And it's not just taking a medicine and everything's cool. I mean, you're hearing all the work that's put into transformation.
And we're like touching the surface here. I mean, we could go deep on each of these topics for hours, and I'm sure people will ask, like, I'm interested, right? And I want to learn more. So individuals are listening maybe for the first time. This is like, just coming at them with, too many ideas. Yeah. Need to go a lot deeper on it. Maybe we'll go deeper on it in the future. But I think definitely the one takeaway so far I got from this is like healing our own self, healing our own trauma, taking care of ourselves, showing some love for ourselves, forgiving ourselves helps, better connect with our spouse, with our children, with our friends. I feel like ourself starts with potentially, it's maybe this next topic I want to go into, which is we can ask all the external materialistic questions. Healing the soul is really, I think, what we're doing here. And we don't talk a whole lot about this. This is like the spiritual piece for me. This is becoming, or has become, much bigger. I feel like it's almost become everything. And again, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking just about connection.
Is that our next topic for Marcus and the Monk?
I think so. I'd love to, unless you want to go deeper on some of the other stuff.
Well, that's a beautiful topic. We could call it science in the spirit. We can talk about, there is science behind entering the cosmos and touching the psyche. And there is a whole wealth of mystical teachings on the soul, touching the soul. What is it? How is it dampened? Where does it thrive? And then I have no idea how deep you want to go and
I'm a white belt. I'm a white belt here. So like, I'm like wearing my white belt in the jiu-jitsu studio on spirituality. And so I'm a listener, an observer. I mean, I can tell you my experience, but for me, there's so much to learn. And I feel like that's going to be the next 50 years, 60 years of my life is learning and growing spiritually. I don't want to make believe I know what I don't know.
We just talk about what we know through experience and then what we draw in through teachers and texts. I think those are the ways that I speak about these deep topics, is what have the teachers said, what do the texts say, and what's our direct experience.
So direct experience. Let's just talk about that. And then you can tell everybody your perspective on it. So my last medicine experience, which hopefully I don't ever have to do ever again. And again, I went in there, I felt like my cup was just overflowing. It wasn't like life was shattering, but I just, I feel like I was spinning my wheels a little bit recently. And I, like everything else, I went in there with like purpose and mission and this job and that thing and bets and Tara and all these like questions. And I feel like the first 4 hours of my experience was just the deepest, most spiritual connection with something bigger than myself. Like that was it. It was the most spiritual experience I could have ever imagined. I never expected that. I didn't ask any questions. I just felt like embodied, I guess, as you mentioned earlier, embodied, head and heart, mind, body, and soul. And everything just felt perfect. I felt connected to everything. I even remember feeling that I'm like, oh, this is connection to everything. Like literally, we're all here. And I didn't need to ask any questions after that. Mm-hmm. I literally just said, I got it. Like, I don't, what's the use of asking it a silly question after? Because I felt like the questions didn't matter, because life is just going to throw a curveball anyway, no matter what those questions get answered. And as soon as you have it, it's going to be another curveball and it's going to change. And none of that mattered. All I came out of that experience was, and this is my last ibogaine experience. It was deep and it was spiritual. It was profound. And I just said, that's it. That's all that matters. I have this connection now with God, whatever that may be. And let's work on that from here. Now I have a white belt, and now I need to grow and build and understand. And, is it Christian? Is it Jewish? Is it Muslim? Is it Hindu? Is it Buddhist? Is it just connection? What does that mean? What does all of it mean? I hope I'm not the only one that thinks like this, because sometimes I feel like when I talk to someone that is, has, strong religious, ties or upbringing, I don't know if they get it, but I'm just saying, hey man, I don't know. I don't understand.
But now you've had a direct experience.
So I believe.
What more than that? I mean, how would we know otherwise?
We get told a lot, right?
What's happening?
There's a lot of stuff out there.
Take all that away. What were you just feeling?
I was just feeling that it doesn't matter. I mean, what I feel is internal. I feel what I feel. And it doesn't matter what anyone thinks or says or does, or like that can't concern me at all.
Okay. You just got another belt.
Is that how easy it is? So I'm just kidding.
And yes, it is. And let me tell you my truth. If you left that experience and you didn't ask another question again about the existence of God or whether it was true for you or not, or what tradition might better fit you, and you just resided in the knowing, you'd have a black belt immediately. The thing you experienced was true for you, deep in a knowing that goes beyond the intellect and books and what people think and say. And if you can reside in that knowing, be in that knowing, confidently walk around the world with that knowing, with no doubt, because there's no thing to doubt, that's black belt. And it's not a belief, it's a knowing. Because my beliefs come and go. I don't trust many of them anymore. I'm like, really? Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. But my knowing, the direct experience I've had of God or universe or the cosmos or whatever we call it, there's no doubt. I don't know what to call it. I don't know always how to talk about it, but I know it's real. And I know it's always here, always in me, always around, between. It's the substance of life.
We can go deep here. I want to keep this. I mean, I feel like you and I should go deep, because I that's what I want to do. But let's talk about individuals who are true white belts, or maybe not even a white belt yet, or not even wearing a belt. You know, vets. My charity, Amber did, and the team, they did a study on individuals that go through psychedelic treatment and their spirituality or their faith. And I don't have the exact numbers. It's actually going through an IRB, but the numbers are like, they're insane. They're so high that individuals who have either been agnostic or atheist or just maybe had faith when they grew up. Granted, most of the individuals coming through vets are, Christians or Catholic or Christians. Many have turned their back on their faith. They come out of these experiences completely connected again. Or like really upset that they turned their back on something that was holy or important or spiritual. And I think it's astounding that here's many individuals who go in and or others that have gone in that are connected in some way and come out just with a profound connection. Like you said, it's like maybe, no, there's no maybe. Right. And we did that because people were asking, hey, I want to do more breath work to stay connected, or I want a faith-based group. And so we built that. So we built we built the meditation, we built the breath work, we built the faith-based group. And then we said, well, we should collect data on this because this is really important. We're seeing the same thing. What is happening here?
For me, again, it comes down to tasting the food, not the menu. I think many of us grew up getting a menu of religion, and you get a book or instructions, and they're like, this is what we believe as our family or culture, so we want you to believe it, and here's words that describe it. But we don't necessarily have the deep embodied feeling of connection to source, God, or whatever we call it. And so it's an intellectualization. It's not a true relationship. It's a study of something. And when people often go through psychedelic experiences or deep meditation retreats, could be Christian retreats, could be Buddhist retreats. But when people go and experience the sacred, now they come out going, now I know Thai food tastes like this, because you can't taste it off a menu, and you can't really taste God, just by reading a word about. That's the intellect. It's a cognitive. Like we started off with gratitude has to be felt. So when people are going through these profound experiences where they touch the divine, they come out going, that's what it was pointing toward all along. But now I know.
How does someone reconnect? How does someone reconnect?
You mean to source or God or to life or to what?
Yeah, to source, because I consider source, God, and life like kind of all together. For me, I've been searching for a long time for Just feel that. That's not a great place to be. That doesn't feel good.
What were you just feeling?
Searching. I was feeling good. I was feeling connected, right? I was feeling, I'm emotional because like I feel it, right? I feel it. But searching is I don't want to say it's uncomfortable. You just kind of feel lost.
Empty
Honestly.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It can feel empty, lonely, lost. So many do. And what we know from this connection to God or source is that we end up feeling a really rich sense of belonging. Like we belong, we're a part of something, we're included, we're not as alone. And the integration of that is learning to feel that when you're out in the world, when we can be really alone, but we can slow down and hear birds and see light through trees, and we know we're not alone. So God is always there. God is in all of those things. Or source. I know we don't know what words to use, and you have a visceral sense of that in the journey or the ceremony. We have to bring that out to our normal waking life so we can touch that more regularly, because we feel so alone and lost as a very small individual in this huge universe. But when we touch that vast universe and we touch God, or we're allowed to, we don't feel alone, and we don't have to search anymore. The endless search is over because it's all right here all the time. We have to remember to touch it. We have to remember to tune into it, to make that a part of our regular waking life. Did I touch into it today? Did I slow down and really connect today? You don't need medicine for that. You need intention.
That was my next thing where I was going, Michael, is like, how do you start that, right? If you don't even know where to start, unless you've had some experience, personal experience, how do you start?
At first I've always asked, what are you longing for the most? And then people are often like, well, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel that. I said, it's not of interest. What do you want most? And where have you maybe touched that before? I might give a book called Path with Heart by Jack Kornfield. It's talking about how to start a spiritual practice. He's a Buddhist teacher, but it's wide open to anyone looking to really touch the heart of life and their own hearts. Everybody wants to really feel vibrant. Everyone wants to thrive. And we just start off simply by, can you connect to your body? Can you connect to your deepest intention to thrive and for well-being? And maybe, do you want to go back to a church or a temple and reconnect, or do you want to find a new practice? Like, these are the beginnings of inquiries. What are you looking for? What are you hoping for? And then we start them on a very simple path. Can you sit by the river and just listen? Can you just tune in? Can you write some reflections down? We just start simple. We're not going to drop into, let's put you on ayahuasca tomorrow and then you'll touch it. I mean, let's just start simply with where people are at and what they're longing for, and then give some basic tools of touching life, touching the body where life exists and you feel life is in the body. And then starting on a very simple spiritual practice, maybe morning prayer, maybe prayer before eating, maybe 10 minutes of meditation. We're going to start off very simply, and you're going to feel what you're feeling and report back and see what's different, see what your mind says. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, thank you for that, because I feel like we can discuss that probably for a whole year or lifetime.
For sure. Yeah. For all of us equally.
As we will. I mean, I think with everything in life, including this, is consistency, is dedication, consistency, call it discipline, because you have to start somewhere. So whatever you start with, and you start with that, you have to go forever. And I feel like that's I forgot, there's a entrepreneur influencer who's done really, really well. And he talks about the life of a founder, startup, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, individual. It's not about the smartest person. It's about the one who's the last standing. And it really is, because it's literally going to go like this no matter what. It's always going to be up and down. Amber does a great job when she talks about a stock market ticker. Like, as long as you have more up days and down days, you're trending upwards, and that's what we want to see. If you're trending down, you're going to have some up days, but more down days. Well, we need to work on you more. And so I think consistency keeps us trending up.
I think for me, thinking about this episode, we really did talk a lot about what do you do after you do a journey. So we're kind of promoting, hey, journeys, medicine work you can have an awesome impact while you're in medicine, but really what you do afterward is where the work starts happening for the rest of your life. And I can't overstress how important it is to do really good work and be dedicated to your well-being or to your future during the integration phase. And that's going to last quite a long time. It can last months and months, if not a couple years of really trying on the new way of being. Because if you're 40 something and you've been doing it for 40 some years, we need some time to really sustain the changes that you're making.
Totally agree.
Yeah, choosing a few things to work on and dedicating yourself to those and watching the garden grow. You'll see the results, the fruits, the flowers, they come.
We should talk about integration more. I feel like there's a lot more here. I feel like we can dive into each subject we talked about
for sure. Yeah.
Whole episodes. And I think doing that is important.
Stay tuned for another episode of Marcus and the Monk.
Marcus and the Monk, Dr. Mike Sapiro. Thanks,
and Marcus Capone. Thanks, dude.